All right, all right, all right. I think we're live. Don't know what was wrong with the countdown. Christian, can you hear me?
I can hear
One, two.
you.
Hey, man, how are you? Good to speak with you. Thanks for joining us. Pretty short notice.
I'm good. I'm
Uh,
good. How are you?
good. So I wanted to have you on because obviously the Amazon Alabama vote is being sent in as we speak. They say it could take several days as far as it being counted. From what I read, you could be having issues as far as Amazon contesting certain votes and both sides contesting votes. So this thing could potentially drag on a little bit. But I couldn't think of anything better than you because anyone better to talk to than you because it's kind of dripping out of the media right now that Mr. Bezos is going bonkers, absolutely bonkers. That
Oh yeah.
anyone dare, and everybody smash that like button right under the live stream. More people that press like, the more people that will see this. He seems to be going a little bonkers that his company is being challenged, that the horrendous working conditions are finally getting out there more of a chorus, that people are challenging him on essentially using his workers as numbers on a balance sheet. To hell with their health. So that's why we saw Amazon's Twitter over the last couple days kind of seemed like a weird, like, trolling account. So I just wanted to start because obviously you kind of were one of the main whistleblowers that started to get national attention. What does it say to you that kind of on the heels of this potential historic union vote that the guy who pulls all the strings seems to be melting down a little bit?
Well, to me, it says that we're winning this fight. That's what I'm happy to say. Even a year after my termination, and to see that this vote has really galvanized the entire world. We got workers overseas and international organizations that's tuning in to this union drive, and it's probably the most important union drive I said since the 1930s. So to see, Jeff Bezos, the richest man in the world, you know, he's always at his executives, going bonkers, so to speak. That's good. It's good to know that the power of the people is finally, taking a turn for our side, for the working class.
Mm-hmm. And what's interesting to me is, I mean, I've seen the media really. It's almost like the media is doing PR for Bezos, but they're really focused on, well, Amazon's being targeted here, and wait, Amazon does, it pays its workers $15 minimum wage and gives them health care. How kind of them. But you don't really see that much attention in the media in terms of kind of just, I mean, you're talking in some cases, it's kind of similar to what the coal miners experienced back in the day, of just horrendous working conditions. I don't really see that other than like lefty progressive media. I don't really see that much in the media coverage of this, that this is, yeah, fine. They pay $15 minimum wage, give you health care, but are kind of killing their workers through this, the tracking of workers, as it just came out, they'll dock you an hour pay if you're a minute late. The Intercept just reported, it was kind of an open thing that workers were frankly pooping and peeing on the job because they can't go to the bathroom. Is it surprising to you that that's not really part of the discussion in the media?
Well, no, it's not surprising. Amazon spends millions on PR, and who knows how many news and media outlets they got in their back pockets. So I'm not surprised. Um, Issues existed at Amazon. I definitely had my experiences and witnessed things that are that disgusting and that humane inside these workplaces. One I know for my own workload that I had to do day to day, I had to skip going to the restroom sometimes. In order to get an assignment done in a timely manner, whatever I had to do, whether it was making a move with the head count or with the operation, I had to, restrict myself from using the bathroom. And, unfortunately, we do hire senior citizens and people of age that may not have that luxury to hold and restrict themselves. And I've seen incidents at my former facilities where that happens, and it's unfortunate and it's inhumane that this company select people to. And it's taking us out of the fact that, we're not human beings and grading who we are as humans. So these issues need to be in the media more. I'm glad we're starting to realize how this company abused people. It's been going on for 26 years in around. So,
right. And I wanted to read just some of this.
More.
I wanted to
read. We're
read
trying to do.
Yeah, I wanted to read some of this because The Intercept recently published Amazon workers with whom I spoke to said the practice of basically peeing and pooping on the job was so widespread due to pressure to meet quotas that managers frequently referenced it during meetings and informal policy documents and emails, which were provided to The Intercept. The practice, these documents show, was known to management, which identified it as a recurring infraction, but did nothing to ease the pressure that it caused. In some cases, employees even defecated in bags. So what you have there is, I guess, Amazon workers talking to The Intercept saying that it's pretty well workers are peeing and pooping in cars, in bags, you name it. And Amazon knows about it. Time for them to go to the bathroom. There's no time for long breaks. In some cases, it takes 10, 15 minutes just to get to the break room. So, yeah, it seems to me Amazon is really, really eager to change the topic, really focusing on, well, we do better than Walmart. Well, we do better than, Home Depot and these other places, but they don't really have an answer for why their workers are essentially making themselves sick to get you that package in 3 hours. There's no answer for that. And, I'm going to play some clips later, but the media has essentially been slobbering over Amazon and Jeff Bezos as they're being targeted. And, they do more than the other companies. Obviously, you can't predict, but what do you expect? All right, I think we lost Christian. His feed's not that great anyway. I'll play it. But I want to play this clip because I think it's extremely of the media slobbering all over Amazon. And remember, still watching, but YouTube is doing its finest against us. So we literally have 150 people watching and 154 likes. How does that happen? So I want to play you this clip because I think it's extremely instructive on the media coverage of Amazon. Take a look. Well, everything's going dandy, huh? All right, I can't play that clip. Let me try this clip and see if this works for you. In the neighborhood. Hold on. Let me know if this clip works for you.
and the way you see it, Henry, in terms of what's at stake now and what's at stake longer term for Amazon?
Well, I think it's interesting that Amazon is the company that's being targeted because they have been more proactive about raising at least salaries for employees, but incredibly high profile. Obviously, a lot of people work there now, so it's not surprising. I think stepping back from it, the really important, larger story here is just the increasing bifurcation in the economy between shareholders and everybody who works for a living. And I think that there have to be ways for companies to share more of the value that they create with the people who create it, their employees. And I think that that's at the heart of this. I think for Amazon, I think they will work through this. I don't.
So I want to start, and I'm sorry, Christian's feed was pretty bad. So if he comes back and his feed is better, we'll have him back. But I'll just go on for now. So I want to start with, because this is CNBC, so clearly this is going to be a bunch of BS. And keep those super chats coming. Bernie's left nut, $2. Eat the best rich. Appreciate it. We also got Nathaniel Turner, $10. Good content as always. Thank you. By the way, tomorrow morning, I'm coming out of retirement. I will be at the press conference tomorrow morning in Staten Island. I believe Christian Smalls will be there. So will Christina Brown, the sister of Pashawn Brown, the 38-year-old Amazon worker who suddenly died in January 2021. I broke that story. Again, Pashawn Brown was an Amazon worker who was testing other Amazon workers for COVID, and she suddenly dropped dead at 38 years old. So her sister will be speaking at this press conference. Other workers, I believe Christian Smalls as well, who was obviously fired from Amazon for daring to ruffle feathers. So there's going to be a lot of people speaking tomorrow, 11 a.m. Eastern. That's 8 a.m. Pacific. I'll be live from this press conference. We'll do some interviews with folks too. They are standing in solidarity tomorrow with the Amazon workers in Alabama. And that union vote, the votes are starting to be counted today, I believe. But from the reporting, it could take several days to have full results. So what's amazing to me, the media coverage, because it's not just CNBC, it's MSNBC, New York Times, Washington Post, you name it. It's all Amazon is being targeted. Amazon is being targeted. Amazon is being targeted. Well, I thought we're a democracy. I thought we have the ability to collectively bargain in this country. I thought workers could get together. So maybe Amazon wouldn't be targeted if their workers didn't have to shit in bags on the job while working. Maybe they wouldn't be targeted if they don't have to pee in water bottles on the job. Maybe they wouldn't be targeted if, I don't know, they weren't tracked like the CIA. Amazon, for what that woman, which you couldn't hear the clip, but that reporter was saying, this Amazon, this whole thing really threatens Amazon's, efficiency. Actually, I think I could find the clip that you could hear. Let me play it this way so you could hear what that woman was saying. This is from Case Study QB, who gets a lot of clips from these channels. Let's take a listen to what this CNBC reporter, how she framed things.
Guys, that idea of a domino effect is why those stakes are so high here. Labor challenges, they could push Amazon to alter its policies and ultimately threaten that efficiency, guys, that has turned it into a $1.5 trillion market cap powerhouse, Becky. Bernie Sanders visited.
So, we don't want to threaten that efficiency. We don't want to threaten that efficiency. So you hear these terms, Amazon, they're being targeted. You hear these terms, Amazon, we don't want to threaten their efficiency. But you see here, or see, other than independent channels, you hear nothing about why is it that these workers feel the need to unionize despite having the $15 minimum wage? Why is it that worker after worker after worker messages journalists like me, or Ken Klippenstein with The Intercept or other journalists and say, it is inhumane what we have to go through for that efficiency. It is inhumane what workers are tasked with and expected to do to get you that Amazon package in 4 hours. We can't be paid enough because we are losing years on our life. There are workers coming out saying 1 hour of work at Amazon is like 10 hours. But none of these outlets seem to think about that. They only look at, well, Amazon's very popular. Well, Amazon is polling very high. Maybe they're very popular, and maybe they're polling very high because the corporate media hides that this company literally has executed an economic Hunger Games against its people. Let me repeat. Maybe the popularity of this company is the fact that the overwhelming majority of people just see their package and don't see the worker shitting in bags and peeing in bottles and slowly killing themselves to get them that package in 3 hours. Maybe that's part of the problem. You think? Let me play you some more of this clip because it's so tone deaf. I don't even know where to start. And please smash that like button. Please share this live stream. I know, Jimmy's live and there's a ton of people live. So what are you going to do? But, is what it is. Let me play more of this.
I don't think it's devastating if a union is created. As Deirdre just said, you have many years of negotiation, and it's one place, and maybe in other places there won't be unions. But I do think this is a story about the U.S. economy, and I think we will continue to see more of this.
But Henry, I think going to this issue of even just how Amazon is dealing on social media with the likes of Bernie Sanders and Elizabeth Warren, do you think that the strategy of pushing back on them, on pushing back on unions, is the right one? Amazon's considered one of the most popular companies in the country, if not the most popular. And so maybe they have an authentic claim on being able to push back, or do you think that is a losing strategy longer term?
Well, I don't think the execution over the weekend at the end of last week helped them particularly. I think they do have a strong case to make, which is they led their industry in raising wages to $15 an hour. They have healthcare. This is something that other companies like Walmart and Target, all the fast food companies have not yet done. They've been fighting it. They will move toward it over time. So I think Amazon does have good arguments there. And I do think that people actually do generally like Amazon. So there is probably...
Again, people generally do like Amazon. Well, Mr. White Guy who probably makes well over six figures. Why do people like Amazon? Why do people like Amazon? Efficiency, ease, comfort, yada, yada, yada. But despite this being the United Corporations of America, because it is the United Corporations of America, do you think people possibly just think that these things happen seamlessly, that they don't know what goes into them getting their package so quickly, that they don't know what goes into this efficiency? Do you think that could be part of its popularity? Because, either we just assume that Americans don't give a damn, that Americans don't care if these people are dying. They need their, workout band or whatever the hell people are ordering within 4 hours or a day or whatever. And they don't really care how it gets there. They don't really care. You could compare it to how do you get your Nikes, China, slave labor? How do you get many things that we get? Out of sight, out of mind. But I do think it's a little bit different with here because I think Americans tend to think out of sight, out of mind when it comes to foreign labor. I do think more Americans would be viscerally outraged if they were made aware of workers being tracked, workers not getting breaks, workers being shitting in bags, workers peeing in water bottles on the job. Perfect example, and I'm going to interview her tomorrow. Reminder, if you came to this late, I'll be covering a press conference tomorrow morning in Staten Island. It will be Christian Smalls, the Amazon whistleblower, Christina Brown, who is the sister of Pashan Brown, That is the 38-year-old Amazon worker who suddenly died in January because we don't know for sure if she had COVID, but I do know for sure, and I broke this story, she was, for some bizarre reason, testing coworkers for COVID. Her and other Amazon workers were basically made to be doctors and nurses administering COVID nasal swabs on workers. Her sister will be there. I'll be interviewing her. So it's just incredible to me because I really don't think, I genuinely do not think, maybe I'm giving the American people too much credit. I genuinely do not think that most Americans have any clue how they get their packages so quickly, how that efficiency works. And I do think if they knew, I don't really think they'd be too happy about it. I really don't. Because most people viscerally do have an issue with, essentially people passing out at work. Most people do have an issue with, maybe not as much capitalism, but like Dr. Evils like Jeff Bezos. And I want to read you this because this is everything that I found out and I've reported just distilled. Amazon started a Twitter war because Jeff Bezos was pissed. There's Dr. Evil himself. Amazon has long been at odds with Bernie Sanders and Elizabeth Warren over their criticisms of the company's labor and business practices, but the discord reached new heights last week when Amazon aggressively went after both senators on Twitter in an unusual attack for a large corporation, with each new snarky tweet from an Amazon executive or the company's official Twitter account, insiders and observers are alike asked a version of the same question: what the hell is going on? It turns out that Amazon's leaders were following a broad mandate from the very top of the company: fight back. Recode has learned that Amazon CEO Jeff Bezos expressed dissatisfaction in recent weeks that company officials weren't more aggressive in how they push back against criticisms of the company that he and other leaders deem inaccurate or misleading. What followed was a series of snarky and aggressive tweets that ended up fueling their own media cycles. So that's the key. And this is what the media will never push back. Will never push back on Amazon. What exactly is Jeff Bezos saying is inaccurate or misleading? Is it inaccurate? Is it inaccurate that workers are shitting and peeing in bags in their Amazon cars that they drive? Company denies it, but are these workers making it up here? I mean, I'll just read you. This is from The Intercept, who's done good work on Amazon recently. One document from January, marked Amazon Confidential, details various infractions by Amazon employees, including public urination and public defecation. The document was provided to The Intercept by an Amazon employee in Pittsburgh, who, like most of the employees I talked to, was granted anonymity to avoid professional reprisal. The employee also provided an email sent by an Amazon logistics area manager last May that chastised employees for defecating into bags. Quote, "This evening, an associate discovered human feces in an Amazon bag that was returned to a station by a driver. This is the third occasion in the last 2 months when bags have been returned to stations with poop inside. We understand that drivers' associates may have emergencies while on road, and especially during COVID. DAs have struggled to find bathrooms while delivering. We've noticed an uptick recently of all kinds of unsanitary garbage being left inside bags." So I want to read this part. So this is the third occasion in the last 2 months when bags have been returned to a station with poop inside. We understand that driver associates may have emergencies while on the road. Well, why is it? Why is it an emergency? Why is it that these drivers don't feel that they can actually pull over and go to the bathroom? Maybe it's because you are literally clocking their every single movement. Maybe it's because you are literally tracking it so that if they don't get their deliveries done in that 4-hour span, that you're docking them pay or eventually getting rid of them. That's not a job that meets any sense of labor practices. That is exploitation at the highest amounts. And by the way, I just want to give you a story, and I'll interview her tomorrow. Again, tomorrow morning, I'll be at the press conference in Staten Island the right outside the Amazon warehouse that Christian Smalls was fired from. By the way, 350 people watching. Smash that like button. Please, please drop in some super chats. Really appreciate it. We need it because YouTube's doing a number on us, folks. YouTube is doing a number. It is really bad right now, the suppression of this channel, to the point where we have 108,000 subscribers. I don't even know if 5% of our subscribers know when we post a video or when we're live. It's that bad. So please, please smash the like button. Super chats are welcome. Sign up as a Status Coup member if you can. Your membership, Status Coup membership, is how I get out there and cover things in the field. It's how we cover travel. It's how we purchase equipment. It's how we cover marketing costs. It's how we pay Jen and Colin and John and Tina and others that have been freelancing with us. But we need you. You're the only ones who can help us. As far as I know, there's not a lot of other independent channels out there doing any reporting in the field. We are out there. Obviously, we've been slowed down during this pandemic, but I'm hoping to get back out there more and more as things get a little safer and once I'm fully vaccinated. So please mark it down tomorrow morning, 11 a.m. Eastern, 8 a.m. Pacific. So that's tomorrow morning, 11 a.m. Eastern, 8 a.m. Pacific. But I want to tell you a story. Hold on one second, please. So Christina Brown, who is the sister of Bashan Brown, I broke that story in January. If you're unfamiliar, basically Bashan died suddenly in January after testing coworkers. So the family was too poor to get an autopsy, so nobody knows really if she had COVID. She just came home one night on a Thursday, told her sister, I got a headache. The next morning, she got her daughter, 12-year-old Gabriel, ready for school. And then she went back to sleep because she didn't feel well, and she died in her sleep. 38 years old, no major health problems. So I'm going to interview her sister tomorrow, 8 a.m. Jordan, I don't wake up that early. 11 a.m. Pacific, 11 a.m. Eastern, 8 a.m. Pacific. So what I learned from Christina and Bashan were drivers for a while. And in a winter storm, they were dropping off Amazon Prime packages. In that storm, Christina got in an accident and her car flipped. Literally, her Amazon car flipped. When she called her supervisor, do you know what the response was? Not, are you okay? Is the car okay? Christina said, yeah, the car's okay. I mean, it wasn't totaled or anything. You know what they asked next? Not, are you okay? First was, is the car okay? And then said, do you think you could finish your deliveries? Guess she had like three more deliveries. That's not one bad apple. That's not one bad apple supervisor. That's a culture. That is a culture of, I think exploitation is an understatement. That is a culture of evil. That is a culture of sociopaths. That is a culture of, they slipped on black ice. That's how it slipped. That's how it flipped. They were driving in winter conditions and she hit black ice and it flipped. That is a culture of psychopathy. Okay. And where does that come from? It comes from the top. It comes from the richest person on earth that the corporate media has slobbered over. Oh, Jeff Bezos and his philanthropy. Oh, Jeff Bezos, he makes, pre-kindergarten for underprivileged children. Oh, and this philanthropy to save the ocean, and this philanthropy to help the homeless in Seattle. Oh, the homeless that he has put on the streets in Seattle. If you remember, I think 2 years ago, I went to Seattle and I covered the economic terrorism that this man has unleashed on Seattle. People that were born and raised in Seattle, living on the streets because rent went up 70% in 5 years because of Amazon. Would Amazon contribute to getting these people off the streets towards affordable housing? Hell no. Amazon fought, kicked, and screamed and fought against a $250 per employee tax that would go towards alleviating the homeless nightmare in Seattle. And by the way, not just Seattle, it's San Francisco, San Jose, Portland, Los Angeles, all over this country. Companies like Amazon are destroying small businesses. And it's not just that they're destroying small businesses. Amazon, there is so much reporting out there. Amazon has stolen intellectual property from entrepreneurs and small businesses. A small business approaches Amazon with an idea or with a patent or with a product. Amazon basically then creates a knockoff of that product and then buries the company that approached them in Amazon's ranking so that you don't even see their product. You just see Amazon's knockoff that they stole for the small business. Kind of sounds like what YouTube's doing to independent outlets, burying us in their fucking algorithm. Excuse my French. Swear jar. Ooh, I need a haircut. This is really a Jufro at this point. So it's just unbelievable. This is like the coal miner, what the Pinkertons did to the coal miners back in the day. Obviously, what white slave owners did to black slaves. And I'm not comparing Amazon's working conditions to black slaves, to be clear. But the idea of just forced labor, the idea of essentially, if you die, you die, but we got to get these packages out. I mean, I even wrestle with it. For example, this thing right here, this is called an IFB. It's broken. I don't know if you see. This thing is broken. So I originally ordered it on Amazon. Ty sent me the link through Amazon, and I needed it like quickly. So yeah, I got it on Amazon, which I feel bad about, to be honest with you. But now it's broken. So I looked online, and the only places that seem to sell it is Amazon. Well, why is that? Because Amazon is basically buried, and Google has also buried its competitors. So what do? I got a broken earpiece that I don't know where I could get it. I don't even know where I could find it. So it's not even that I'm not willing to wait and use a broken earpiece. It's that I don't know where to find it. And that's intentional because Amazon is basically burying competitors on its own platform. Yeah, eBay, I'm going to look. So this is a crisis of humanity, this company. It's also a crisis of journalism because if you watch Status Coup, we don't really have a journalism industry in this country anymore. We have a bunch of way, way, way out of touch, privileged, mostly white, coastal elites have hijacked the journalism industry and basically slobber over Joe Biden, the Democratic Party, Nancy Pelosi, Chuck Schumer, all of the Democratic elite. They slobber over Jeff Bezos. They slobber over Warren Buffett. They slobber over Bill Gates. They slobber over the CIA. And they don't tell you the goddamn truth about what's going on. Let me play a little bit more of this clip so you just see the total manufacturing of consent when it comes to Amazon.
Why do you think that
Amazon? I don't think their Twitter war was smart.
If you think Amazon's on the right side of things relative to the Walmarts and Targets of the world, why do you think they get and I don't know if you think it's disproportionate or not, but they get a lot of attention, as you know, from the left, from Elizabeth Warren, from a Bernie Sanders? Appropriate, not appropriate?
Well, they get what Walmart in its heyday got, which is you're destroying small businesses. You're funneling all the money now to the richest person in the world. It's just an easy company to attack that way. And they're huge. They employ almost 1 million people. Right. So there's a lot to gain from that. The stock has done so well. It's so high profile. So very easy target. But I do think they are headed in the right direction. I think everybody else needs to follow them. And I think as a society and economy, we need to think more about, big, rich companies can afford to make sure that their full-time employees aren't poor. And that's the case with a lot of our big, rich companies.
And the way you see it, Henry.
So did I just hear that right? Did you just hear that right? Other companies need to follow them. Other companies need to follow them. I mean, I don't expect this wealthy white dude to know what the fuck he's talking about. But this is not simply about what they're paying their workers. This is about they don't treat them like workers. They treat them like slaves. I mean, sorry, I don't want to offend anyone, but that's how they're treating these workers. It doesn't matter if you pay them $15 an hour if they are literally growing sick working. And they're growing sick. To be clear, they are growing sick working. They are peeing in water bottles. They are shitting in cars while trying to deliver Prime packages for one reason and one reason only. The CEO or chairman, whatever his position is now, is a psychopath. He wants to literally squeeze as much profit as humanly possible. Give him credit. They're a $1.5 trillion company, and he has gotten them to that point by literally killing his workers. When I say killing, I'm saying killing. They might not be dying in the moment, but when you put this amount of stress on human beings to turn out package after package after package, we haven't even gotten into how many people have died during this pandemic because that motherfucker, Jeff Bezos, literally, do you know that customers got priority for hand sanitizer before Amazon workers? Did you know that? I spoke with workers in Virginia. Literally, the customers got priority to get hand sanitizer over the workers. Workers, literally, across the board, we're not getting N95 masks. We're not getting surgical gloves. We're not getting gowns. We're certainly not being socially distanced because there is no way to socially distance in a warehouse. It's not possible. They weren't even, at least in the Virginia warehouse that I covered, where Pashawn Brown died, the cleaning crew wasn't even cleaning the carts, which is what they use all day to move your products. So part of why Amazon is so popular, part of why they are doing well in the polling and all that, is because I would say 90% of Americans have not a clue that this man, Jeff Bezos, and this company has created an economic Hunger Games to get you your workout band or whatever the hell it is you need in 4 hours or one day. And that's a crime. It's a crime against humanity. And I don't know what's going to happen. Honestly, I hope that this union is successful. I hope this union vote wins. But we all know there's a lot of suspicious and tricky things and shady things that go on with these big companies. And I'm sorry to tell you, I don't have a lot of faith that this union vote is not going to be rigged. I do have hope that it passes. But we're talking about hundreds of millions, if not billions of dollars on the line for Amazon. Because if this is successful in Alabama, it's good. You know, that term, a domino effect, has been used. It will be a domino effect, and it will spread. It will start spreading to other places. And you want to know something? It will not just be Amazon at that point. It will be a domino effect for other companies that finally see, oh, here's a successful model. So Amazon is going to do everything humanly possible within the law and outside the law to rig this vote. And by the way, another report came out that the police in Bessemer, Alabama, were basically surveilling the union workers on behalf of Amazon. You call this a democracy? Literally, the police in Bessemer, Alabama, are literally tracking and trailing and surveilling these workers trying to unionize in Alabama. Kind of reminds me of Standing Rock. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. But I got to tell you, there's a lot on the line here, but I am sick of this corporate media slobbering over Amazon. And by the way, just so you know, Silicon Valley, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, they've been throttling and burying critical coverage of Amazon. When I go live on Amazon or I have a video on Amazon, 10 out of 10 times, it does worse than any other video. Is it because people don't care about what Amazon's doing to its workers? No, it's because most people don't even see it. Because if Amazon is in the headline, whoo, not a good thing. Not a good thing. So, yeah. See what happens. We will see what happens. I wanted to play this clip also from Fox News because it just amuses me. Or Fox Business, whatever. Here's what a Fox Business anchor thinks Jeff Bezos should do.
I just think that maybe Mr. Bezos should do something about the Washington Post, which he owns lock, stock and barrel, which vigorously supports.
However, as you know, that is separate from Amazon. That is a private investment by Jeff Bezos.
But he's got control of the Washington Post. If he doesn't like Bernie and Elizabeth Warren, make a change in your editorial policy at the Washington Post, for heaven's sake.
So you're saying use a Washington Post to go after Bernie Sanders and Elizabeth Warren if you want more pointed.
Why not? Why is the Washington Post the most outrageous leftist organization in America, with a few other exceptions, and it's owned by Bezos, who's with Bernie Sanders having a go at him?
Right.
Come on.
Yeah.
Take the gloves off.
Utilize all levers. That's your point.
Wait a minute.
Hey. Credit to him. Credit to him. He's not fooling around. He's just telling it like it is. Washington Post is literally a outlet of stenography for Jeff Bezos' economic Hunger Games. I do like that it's leftist. If these people think the Washington Post is leftist, then we're in trouble. We are in trouble. But at least they're saying the quiet part out loud, because the Washington Post is a fucking organ for Amazon. It does stenography for Amazon. And by the way, the New York Times, the Washington Post, all of these people, they're so quick to talk about, oh my God, Venezuela, the exploitation, the workers in Venezuela, the workers in Russia, the workers all over the globe. We need to spread democracy because they're being exploited in other countries. But workers shitting in bags, peeing in water bottles on the job, being tracked, being surveilled. Efficiency here in America. Efficiency. Corporate media is a large reason why this is happening. And, another example, it wasn't a story per se, but when I broke this story on Pashawn Brown, the 38-year-old Amazon worker who suddenly dropped dead in January, no health problems. She was testing other workers. She was testing her coworkers with COVID nasal swabs for months. And all of a sudden she drops dead. The family was too poor to do an autopsy. Well, interestingly enough, I think my original tweet, because I did a tweet thread on this poor woman's death, got like almost 10,000 retweets, but not one media outlet picked that up. Can you imagine that? I mean, that's kind of I don't know about viral, but semi-viral tweet thread. A lot of national news outlets tend to write stories based on things they see on Twitter, but nearly 10,000 retweets on the story of her death. I think the World Socialist website did a story on it. That's the kind of essentially corporate capture we're living in. It's not just on Flint, which I've been complaining about for years. The media is complicit on the continued injustice and ongoing crisis in Flint, but they're complicit in the rest of this. On Amazon, literally using its workers as an economic Hunger Games. So, yeah, I wish I would love to cheerlead and go rah-rah, but I'm kind of cynical, folks, and I don't know if you could trust that this is going to be a fair election. I hope there's a ton of observers there. I hope Amazon and its, army of PR people are kept the fuck out of there. And I really hope that just the true will of the workers wins, because I think if it's a fair election, I think they would vote to unionize, and that will pass overwhelmingly. And I do think it could be a domino effect from there. I do. So if you'll allow me, and keep those super chats coming, really appreciate the super chats, all that. If you allow me, I wanted to play another clip. Because it kind of annoyed me slightly. and this is Ilhan Omar, who, you know, I like. I'm not condemning Ilhan Omar, but I wanted to play this clip because I think it's pretty representative of why the progressives in the House right now are fucking up. It doesn't mean they're sellouts or they're frauds. You know, I get a lot of grief for not calling them sellouts or frauds, but I am going to criticize and cover critically where I see makes sense. So let me play you this clip. And I actually think this ties a little bit to what's going on with Amazon right now. But Ilhan Omar was on, I think, Mehdi Hassan's show on MSNBC or something.
Just to shift.
Let me show you. He kind of questioned her on, like, why didn't you guys do anything to pressure Biden on the $15 minimum wage? Let's hear what Ilhan Omar had to say about it.
To the big picture, it was reported by Politico that you were part of a Congressional Progressive Caucus delegation that recently met with White House Chief of Staff Ron Klain. What asks did you make? And what do you say to your critics on the left who say progressives in Congress like yourself, the Squad, the CPC, haven't pushed Biden hard enough on issues like the $15 minimum wage, universal health care, the filibuster?
I mean, it is because that we have been pushing really that the American Rescue Plan is deemed to be the most progressive policy in decades. We certainly understand that there was a failed strategy, not by the progressives in Congress, because we put $15 in the package, by the administration. I think their early signaling that could be negotiated out, and it might not stick as part of the final package, really, I think, endangered the ability for us to pass $15. And so when we were in that meeting, we put.
So again, and I actually like Ilhan Omar, so this is not personal, but when you're wrong, you're wrong. She kind of talks, and I've seen this from her. I've seen this from Rashida Tlaib. I've seen this from Congresswoman AOC. They kind of talk like passive bystanders. So she was just saying to Mehdi Hassan that, Biden signaling that he didn't think the $15 minimum wage would pass the parliamentarian muster, which is obviously a bunch of bullshit. That is what endangered it. But he didn't follow up. I would have. But didn't it kind of equally endanger it by you, the progressives in the House, Bernie, not calling him out loudly and aggressively, not galvanizing your troops to call him out, that this is absurd, that you are literally concocting a not credible reason and excuse not to basically abandon a $15 minimum wage? There was none of that from Ilhan Omar, AOC, Rashida Tlaib, Ayanna Pressley, Ro Khanna, Pramila Jayapal, Jamal Bowman, Cori Bush, Mondaire Jones. There was none of that. Here you have a coalition of, a lot of people who started as activists, who are not grasshoppers, are not like, prude butterflies. Some of them have fought and won, but she acted like it was Biden signaling that it wouldn't pass the bill that ultimately buried it. Well, if you allow his signaling to go unchallenged, it's not like AOC or Ilhan Omar or Rashida Tlaib or Ro Khanna are lacking if they contacted, MSNBC, the New York Times, the Washington Post, CNN. They could get heard, right? It's not like they're not, especially AOC, are not extremely skilled and well adept at organizing social media campaigns, pressure campaigns, hashtags, whatever. And that might sound stupid, like, Jordan, you think hashtags are going to make a difference? Yeah, I think Biden is susceptible to being shamed. I really do. I think Biden actually is he's not quite Trump in terms of like narcissistic, but I do think Biden loves these ridiculous narrations, portraying him as like, FDR, portraying the $1.9 trillion dollar relief bill as somehow like the New Deal, which is just laughable, if you ask me. But I think he is susceptible to a little shame. But if there's no coordinated pressure campaign to shame him, then no, he's not going to be susceptible to that. And that's what I just don't get it. She, like, her statement there really is kind of like, well, you know, by Biden signaling too early, it kind of ruined things. Well, yeah, that started the motion, but it's kind of like going to a battle and one side, you know, putting its sword down and the other side just not showing up. That's what's going on. The other side, us, did not show up. Let me play you a little bit more of this.
Pushed for a strategy to get $15 minimum wage. We pushed for a strategy to pass the agenda that the administration ran on, that the Democrats agree on, whether it is, you know, passing sensible gun laws, dealing with our immigration crisis, and all of the things that we all care about. What we walked away from that conversation with is an understanding that there is a limited window of opportunity for us to push these pieces of legislation. There are members in the Senate within the Democratic Party that are certainly not there yet on the priority pieces of legislation that
Ilhan Omar just made my point. She just made Jimmy Dore's point. She just made all these people's point. Biden, like, you can't not pass additional relief for COVID. It's not an option. He had to pass something. And there's a very limited window for any president, usually 3 to 6 months before you're already shifting towards focusing on the midterm. So you had the leverage because there's a very limited window to pass anything of substance. So why didn't you use the leverage? Hello? Why didn't you say, yeah, no, if you're going to abandon your core campaign promise, which was a $15 minimum wage, then we're not voting for this. And you could explain to the American people why their relief is being delayed. It ain't going to be because of us. It's because you, President Biden, have abandoned your core principle using a Senate parliamentarian as some type of bullshit gaslighting device. That is the truth. But they didn't do that. So again, she right there said there's a very short window. So why didn't you apply pressure? He's the one that has that short window. He's the one who has a short window to pass his core priorities. It's just, I don't know. It don't make sense to me. It really doesn't make sense to me. You know, there's a difference between being really skilled at organizing in terms of knocking on doors and grassroots organizing for, you know, running a competitive campaign with small dollar donations and phone banking. Like, there's that kind of organizing. And then there's like guerrilla warfare organizing. And it doesn't even take that much organizing, frankly, because they have the numbers. Because of that short window that she just described, they could have pressured Biden. Maybe it wouldn't have been $15 minimum wage. Maybe they would have pressured and shamed them into 11 or 12. Am I happy with that? No, I'm not. Am I happy with $15? Absolutely not. But in this case, wouldn't some progress, some improvement be better than nothing? Because this is what you're going to get out of Joe Biden. If you don't pressure him, he's just going to abandon and moonwalk away from anything. And it's already going to start again. Look, they're talking now about a $3 trillion infrastructure package, which they'll probably have to use reconciliation again. Okay, well, as part of that infrastructure package, there's talk. Bernie Sanders is talking about trying to force in lowering the age of Medicare, right? Into that and expanding Medicare. There's no talk of putting a $15 minimum wage in there. And frankly, from what we just saw with Biden on abandoning a $15 minimum wage, sure, maybe they'll throw some bullshit empty promises about something to do with Medicare in a $3 trillion infrastructure package. He's already shown you he's going to slowly moonwalk away, and he's going to blame it on, well, we don't have the votes on the Republican side. Oh, Joe Manchin. Oh, this, oh, that. And the progressives are basically telling you, well, we tried, but we can't. You haven't tried until you play hardball. And I would be sitting here very, 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 very praising Ilhan Omar and all of these progressives if they tried. We don't expect them to be wizards. We don't expect them to snap their fingers and change the entire rot of this corrupt system. But if you don't actually fight, yeah, you're going to get criticism. Let's finish this out.
We have, and it's going to be up to the administration to come up with a strategy to push them, because progressives in the House are constantly told to get in line and to push policies that are going to have an impact on people's lives. That's what those Democrats in the Senate need to be told, and that's what's going to take.
But that is the point I don't get. And I honestly, I don't mean disrespect. I don't know if Ilhan Omar and AOC and these people just don't get it, or I don't know. Because when you're saying that's what these Senate Democrats need to be told, the way you tell them is by blocking legislation. The way you tell them is by blocking legislation. That's how you tell them. You tell them what the priorities need to be when you play hardball. And when you play hardball, guess what? You get media coverage. When you get media coverage, guess what? The things that you're playing hardball about are wildly popular. So I don't know, folks. Maybe I'm being too harsh here, but it seems pretty simple to me. And by the way, what I'm describing is kind of just like common practice in the UK Parliament and other countries, where you have this minority within a majority, but because there's kind of a very narrow margin for the majority, meaning the majority party, whether it's in the UK or Australia or wherever, the majority party only has the majority by a little bit, that a minority within that majority can really hold hostages. I mean, we're seeing it right now. Joe Manchin is doing what the squad refuses to do. And the media, I mean, the New York Times just did a slobbering piece about Joe Manchin. Joe Manchin is one person. This is 8 or 9 people. So Ilhan Omar and Pramila Jayapal and Ro Khanna, Jamal Bowman, Cori Bush, AOC, Rashida Tlaib, all of them, right this minute. I have the graphic. Hold on. Right this minute, they could literally be saying, no more. We're not doing a $3 trillion package. We're shutting shit down until, at the very least, okay, you don't want to do Medicare for all? Then you need to lower the Medicare age to 55 now. No reason not to. We're in a pandemic. Lower the Medicare age to 55 now. With a floor vote on complete Medicare for all. You don't want to do it? Okay, well, good luck on your $3 trillion package. We're not voting for it. There is no excuse. They don't have Trump as a boogeyman right now. Trump is in exile. But nobody's doing it. Nobody's doing it. And by the way, while the progressives refuse to fight, Biden is getting all of this slobbering, manufacturing consent media coverage, basically, spinning this man as like FDR reincarnated, when frankly, that 1.9 trillion, I don't want to say it was all bad. There's good things in there. It doesn't change anything structurally. It's not the New Deal. Most of these things are up in 6 months. But because the progressives are basically refusing to fight, and I get pushback, Jordan, they are fighting. It's just you don't see it. Well, if you can't see it, then that's a problem, right? If you can't see what they're doing, if the results aren't tangible, say what you want about the Tea Party. They were racist. They were a faux populist movement that was really backed by, the Koch brothers and Freedom Works and these fraudulent groups. But they fought. And because they took no prisoners, they basically hijacked the Republican Party for about 5 years. That's what I'm saying. If Manchin can do it, so can the squad. They're choosing not to do it. Some people are saying, Jordan, they're controlled opposition. But like at a certain point, you know, Peter Iannone just said, why doesn't Bernie or the squad go scorched earth? I don't know, because Bernie's willing to go scorched earth against Jeff Bezos. He's down there. He was down there speaking in Bessemer, Alabama. Is more than happy to go after Bezos on Twitter at hearings. More than happy to go after the Walton family, this and that. And you know, I'm a Bernie OGer. I know a lot of people hate Bernie now, not me. I get grief for not, you know, calling him a sellout. But we could criticize where there should be criticism. Why, Bernie? There is no Trump. He's gone. So why, at this point, frankly, you're dealing with a frail man. Joe Biden's not the Joe Biden of 1995. He could barely get through a 10-minute speech. I don't understand why they don't go after this. I don't understand. They could have got more than this $1.9 trillion package. They could have got an increase of the minimum wage to something. Right now, all this talk about a $3 trillion infrastructure package. Listen, I don't want to poo-poo it, but like these infrastructure jobs, they would be temporary jobs. It's not going to change anything structurally in the economy. It's all it is a bumper sticker policy to say, oh, Biden's bringing those shovel-ready jobs. We're going to fix the roads and the highways, this and that. But that puts people to work temporarily. That's not what we need. We need structural change. We need change in healthcare. We need stronger labor unions. We need a higher minimum wage. And the progressives, I think, are squandering, you know, their leverage. And honestly, I don't even know why they bother taking a meeting with Biden's chief of staff. If you don't realize that these are not people operating in good faith, then you're not as politically astute as you should be. Let me read some super chats. Nathaniel Turner, $10. Good content as always. Thank you, brother. Thank you. Sorry, by the way, I didn't know that Christian Smalls, who I tried to interview earlier, was actually in an airport. So terrible service. So I apologize for that. I wasn't aware. Bernie's left nut. Love it. $2. Eat the best rich. Howard King's $5. Rise up, all victims of oppression, for the tyrants fear you might. Thank you. Socially Democrat, $5. Isn't that why they named a new CEO? Because Bezos was getting too much pushback, a lot from the left, that he was trying to slide under the radar or whatever. Yeah, they named a new CEO, but Bezos is staying on as executive chairman. So it's kind of like he's not necessarily running the day-to-day, but he's the top. I mean, he gets the final decision on anything, despite not being the CEO. So he's still there. Trust me. Toshiba, $2. Jeff P. off looks like the guy in the Stonks meme. I can't say I'm familiar with that, but I'll take your word for it. Also want to remind you one more time, tomorrow, I will be covering the Amazon press conference in Staten Island. Christian Smalls will be there. Christina Brown, who is Prashan Brown's sister, will be there. For those of you, again, I covered that in January. Prashan Brown was 38 years old. She suddenly dropped dead in January after testing Amazon coworkers for COVID for months. She was not given the proper mask. She was not given the proper surgical gloves, not given a gown, not given eye goggles, certainly not social distancing. She dropped dead at 38. To be fair, her family was too poor to do an autopsy, so I can't say for certainty whether she had COVID. But what I can say is she was 38. She didn't have any major health problems, and she suddenly dropped dead at the age of 38 after Amazon had her playing doctor and nurse and testing coworkers for months. So I'll be live tomorrow, starting around 11 a.m. Eastern. That's 8 a.m. Pacific. For my West Coast friends, get up early if you can. And, as a reminder, I know a lot of you already are, but if you're not, please consider signing up as a Status Coup member. Right now, we're kind of flat because of a lot of suppression YouTube has been doing. A lot, in many, many cases, we're not actually being seen on YouTube. We're not being recommended. Our videos aren't being recommended. Even people who subscribe to our channel are messaging me. I saw that I was unsubscribed, even though they didn't unsubscribe. There's a lot of digital suppression going on. And I'm going to tell you, it costs money to go out and cover things, to have a cameraman, to pay for the equipment. Just to go live every month is almost $1,000 for our live view that we use for the data plan and paying for the server. Paying Jen, paying Colin, paying John, paying Tina. It's not a one-man band. I'm not just sitting here doing hot takes. We got mouths to feed, and we want to grow, and that starts with you. So if you got $5, sign up, statuscoup.com/join. Sign up for as low as $5 a month. I also want to bring to your attention, in recent weeks, we've gotten a lot of incredibly generous donations. We've been really pushing our GoFundMe because we've been losing revenue from YouTube. So I really want to thank you guys. Even when I'm not live, people have been donating. Sarah, $50 yesterday, Carol, 10, Thomas, 45. That might look like a lot of money. That might be like, Jordan, why are you asking for money? You got $143,000. We don't. That's what we have cumulatively raised over 3 years. I wish we had that much. And we've spent it. We've spent money as we went on travel, covering stories across the country, buying new equipment, hiring freelancers in other communities to go live for us. Obviously, we pay people, and we're happy to do it. So if you got a couple bucks, whether it's Super Chat, whether it's GoFundMe, always appreciate it. Thank you. Let me read a couple comments before I go. Not easy. I didn't know Jimmy was going live, so unfortunately didn't have as many people as we might have. Anyone know when the union vote results go public? Yeah, it's kind of tricky because technically the votes are in, but it's going to take a few days to count it. And Amazon plus the union, they can contest any vote. So this thing could drag on through this week and possibly into next week. Because Amazon could basically do a lot of fuckery and contest a lot of these votes. So definitely, yeah. We'll see what happens. Let me read some other comments. I'd rather listen to you than Jimmy. Why, thank you. I do love Jimmy, but not going to complain if you're here. Let's see. Status Coup. Let me just sign in here. Thanks for that answer. Thank you. All freelancers like Jordan should join forces. Hey, I've been saying for a long, long time that I think independent media needs to come together. I think too many of us are living on our own islands. Part of that is egos. Part of that is some of the bigger channels. Why bother? If it ain't broke, don't fix it. Some other channels have way more subscribers than us and aren't feeling this YouTube pain as much as we are. But I think I've been saying for years, I think independent, particularly progressive independents, need to come together, preferably in one wider network. It doesn't matter. It doesn't mean you can't individually have, together, like if we were part of a wider network, it doesn't mean people can't give a little more or subscribers, members to particular outlets that they support. But I think, I don't want to go the Hillary Clinton route, but I do think we're stronger together on this front if we came together. YouTube hosts. By the way, welcome new Status Coup member Zachary just signed up. Also got Joseph just signed up. So we're now at 1,759. 1,759 Status Coup members. Keep signing up. Statuscoup.com/join. $5 a month. You also get bonus content with that membership. Behind the scenes videos, you get access to our members only Discord and a monthly members call that we do with our members. So sign up if you can. Let me read a couple other comments. 222. Where's Jordan? Where am I? Here in my studio talking to you. Try it. You, Jimmy, Kyle, the Hill. You don't think I've asked Jimmy to join forces? I don't want to speak out of turn, but I've asked. As soon as I get off of work, I'll go to GoFundMe and donate. Thanks, Jordan, for all you do. Thank you. That's really kind. I appreciate it. Please support the streamers. People media is the future and is not corrupted by the corporate filters. Yes. And I would say, and I'm just going to be frank, and this isn't meant to disrespect anyone else kind of in this sandbox, but I say, listen, if you got $5 a month, I say it should come to Status Coup. And that might sound weird and like, Jordan, what about the others? Well, I would love everybody. I would love each viewer to be able to fund everybody. But at the end of the day, it's very different, basically being in a studio doing hot takes all day. And that doesn't mean that, like, I love what Jimmy does. I love what Kyle does. I think their voices are unique and needed, and they cover a lot of things you won't hear anywhere else. But it is different when you actually go out and cover things in the field. An example, I've been working with Jen on a major Flint story for months. It was supposed to be out this week. Of course, dealing with the outlet we're dealing with, it's being delayed. It should be out next week. Who knows? We need to do it with a larger outlet because we need legal protections, because these kind of stories we're doing, we could be subpoenaed. We could be sued to be subpoenaed. We could be compelled in court to give up our sources, which we never would. So all of these things are very risky. But like, we actually go cover things in the field. You might have not seen it, but we were live on Saturday for a solidarity rally with Asian Americans and Black Americans. We have been out there covering Black Lives Matter protests long before George Floyd was unfortunately a name nationally. We've been out there we went to Seattle to cover the economic terrorism that Jeff Bezos has perpetrated. We went to Detroit and Ohio when General Motors laid off 15,000 workers. We went down to Dallas to cover the execution of Botham Jean, 26-year-old black man executed in his apartment by a white police officer. The list goes on and on. We went to Virginia and covered those environmental protesters literally protesting at the top of their trees to stop the fossil fuel company from cutting down their trees to put a natural gas pipeline under them. We've been everywhere. I've been to Flint personally 17 times. I think like 7 or 8 of them with Status Coup, the rest with the Young Turks years ago. So yeah, as Sam just put it in the live chat, our mission is to give the microphone back to the people. Might sound cheesy, but it's true. But to do that, it costs money. All this costs money, and we have not taken any shortcuts. We did not get $20 million from Jeffrey Katzenberg. If Jeffrey Katzenberg asked me $20 million, if Jeffrey Katzenberg offered me $20 million tomorrow, I'm a human being. I'd give it a thought. I'd turn it down because I don't need any of the baggage that comes with big, fucking plutocrats and Democratic Party donors. We want to be free. We want to be liberated so that you are our donor. You are our bosses. So that's the deal. I think I will be live again tomorrow, 11 a.m. Eastern. Do not rely on YouTube to notify you when we are live. So tomorrow I'll be live around 11 a.m. Eastern, 8 a.m. Pacific. To get on our text message list, which if you're not on, you should be, do it right now. Text 370-370. That's 370-370. Text COUP to 370-370. So you can get our text message list. That's another thing that's wildly expensive. But hey, we're trying to grow our text list so more people see when we're live because YouTube's not notifying you. Thanks for watching. I will see you tomorrow morning. Be there. Press conference outside the Staten Island Amazon. I'll be doing interviews with Christian Smalls, Christina Brown, some others. Look forward to being live again out in the field. Talk to you tomorrow. Be there or be square. Peace.